Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is Dearest Mother, Love Ruthie. Ruth Smallshaw Ray's Letters to Her Mother, 1949, Part 44. Children's Services, 1001 Huron Road, Cleveland 15, Ohio, September 3rd, 1949. Mother dear and Bud and Daddy, hi. Just arrived back in Cleveland a few hours ago. It's hard to believe, but I didn't even have time to post, let alone write a card all the way. I stepped from the Regina bus onto the Winnipeg bus, onto the Minneapolis bus, onto the Chicago bus, and onto the Cleveland bus, without even time to wash my hands. No rest stop exceeded 20 or 25 minutes, in which time I had to wait in line both at the washroom, at the lunch counter, and thence whisk away again. It was exactly 24 hours, so really very quick. Thursday was the worst day. I spent but about 60 cents for drinks. The lunch was a fine idea. A medical student from Saskatoon, cousin of Ruby McCannell, and a fine fellow, Art McCannell, was on until Moosomin. 2 students from Oklahoma University made the trip interesting, kept me entertained from Winnipeg to Minnesota, and a Chicago University and Illinois University student, so I felt very popular. The Chicago University student was just helping me off with my grips and suggested dinner when John breezed up, grabbed me by the shoulders and said, "Hi, Red baby," and kissed me. Says it's very nice to have me back. The Chicago U student asked for my phone number, with John standing there saying under his breath, "Red, aren't you ashamed?" All the kids made me so welcome back, and the house looks wonderful. With the very nice send-off from Bud and Marion, the whole holiday was perfect. The border crossing was okay after some discussion. The kids say I can't eat here, and Marge is getting married in December, so I can move in then. I love you, Ruthie. 2493 Overlook Road, Cleveland Heights, Ohio, September 9th, 1949. Dearest Mother, Daddy, and Bud, goodness, so much has happened since I left that it hardly seems possible. I'm so glad that I managed to drop you a note on arrival because there hasn't been much chance since then. I received your letter today and felt guilty at not writing. Since arriving back, I've been swamped, what with school and looking for a place, but first I must tell you what a very nice weekend I had. It was so nice of John to meet me because the bus didn't go to the station. I'd told him, but stopped downtown. He'd phoned and found out. Honestly, he's been so nice. We went to the wedding at Marion, Ohio. It was very lovely. 2 bridesmaids and maid of honor and all the men in white jackets. Reception at a hotel, and I kept meeting so many relatives. I was rather swamped. John's dad is so nice. I'd met him last fall, but briefly. He's a lot like John, but shorter, balder, and his eyes are more twinkling. Very nice. His whole family have an exceptionally happy outlook. We had dinner at his grandmother's after the reception, met so many relatives, and then we went to Lakeside, Ohio. It was lovely, and we swam, played tennis, played poker, and ate. A very nice time. We were in 2 big houses by the lake, and I was with his sister Carol, a very beautiful girl. We were supposed to go to a dance, Charlie Spivak, but since it rained, we settled for one nearer, dancing outdoors on a terrace. Oh golly, but it was all so nice. It's about the prettiest place I've been, on Lake Erie. Sunday, and I still haven't finished this, but I wanted to wait until I decided on a place to stay. I have, but I'd keep my story in sequence. On the way back from Lakeside, John, his brother and sister, and I went swimming, and then went to Sandusky to John's home for supper. They have a lovely home with big lawn, front, side, and back, and all shades of rose bushes blooming. I like it much better than the Parrots, and it's in a nice section. Everything was very nice. Bud, remember when you and I wanted to build a stone fence but settled for a stone walk? Well, John and his brother did build a stone fence, and it's very nice. His mother was so nice to me, too. It was hard to tell whether I was falling in love with his family or John, but it's been very nice. He asked me if I felt like I'd left home or was coming home. One day of rest and back to school. They gave me a class of my own, 5-year-olds. It's nice to have my own again, but Mrs. Heinrichs professed amazement that I'm only teaching half-day and has asked me to reconsider again and teach full-time. Dear, I don't plan to. Now, though, I'm going to ask you a big favor. I really would have brought back some of my teaching materials had I known I was to have a class. So if you can, and it wouldn't be too expensive, could Bud pack up all those picture cards that are in my trunk and send them to me? Also the number and color charts, big sheets on the bottom, and also a folder full of hectograph seatwork material. I realize it's a tremendous thing to ask, but there's so much work to remake all that, and I do need it all immediately. Thanks so much if you can. As I said, I've been hunting for a room. John and I put a down payment on a room across the street and half block down in case I didn't get anything else. Another teacher has been looking with me for an apartment, and I've had several opportunities to share apartments with other girls. Last night, John and I went over the pros and cons, and today I discussed it with Dale. We decided the room would be best. I'll eat at the co-op and be able to ride with John to school. I'll hate to be alone, but we'll probably accomplish more than in an apartment. All of the girls were working girls, so it would be hard to study, and then cooking takes time. They suggested I try it for a while anyway and hope it's okay. I'm going to keep mail and telephone number here anyway. Hope I won't be too lonesome. Anne, Wayne, Lenny, Betty, John, and I went to see Lost Boundary. I took communion this 8 o'clock morning and went to church breakfast and taught Sunday school. I'm teaching only if I don't have a Saturday morning class. John will have law school Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights. I love you, and I'm very glad I went home. Right. The Reader's Digest is about Negroes and whites. Love, Ruthie. 2493 Overlook Road, Cleveland Heights, Ohio, September 28, 1949. Dearest Mother, Daddy, and Bud, thank you, darlings, for the cards. They arrived Monday, but I waited until Tuesday morning to keep them as a surprise. In my circumstances, the dentist bill paid was a blessing. I now have $1 in the bank, so nothing can happen to me, or it'll be too bad. I had classes on my birthday, all day, so not very thrilling. John came over after I got home and had a cute little panda bear for me, Robespierre, to keep me company. Later, after he'd gone and I was going to bed, he came back and told me to get dressed and to come to the co-op. When we got there, they had a beautiful big birthday cake and sang Happy Birthday. Golly! Connie sent a telegram and a little totem pole. Dale had us over for a birthday dinner yesterday, fried chicken, etc., and gave me a lovely pair of stockings. Was I ever surprised? Friday at supper, Frank called. He got to New York last Monday and came to Cleveland Thursday night, but couldn't reach me till I was at the co-op for supper. We were just leaving for the dance when John arrived home from law school. Although I introduced them, John was under the impression it was Don. It's a state of things you always hope won't happen. We went to the college dance at the town club and had a swell time. Saturday morning he came up about 11 o'clock, and John drove us to the art museum. Later, Frank took me to dinner at the playhouse, and I saw him away in the bus. He suggested staying longer, but I didn't encourage it, as I had with John. He wants me to go to New York some weekend. Bill asked, "He's a terrific fellow. How come you get all such good guys?" Don't you know, though, if you try to sit that if you try to sit on 4 chairs, you end up on the floor? They've all been kidding me about it. Last night after Dale's dinner, we went to see Madame Bovary. Do see Red Shoes. That's the one I had so much trouble getting to. Oh, golly, but it's nice to be happy again. I must study. Tell Mrs. Crowther the classes are filled, and I'll write and explain. John is real nice. I love you, Ruthie. 2493 Overlook Road, Cleveland Heights, Ohio, October 2nd, 1949. Dearest Mother, Daddy, and Bud, first I want to mention something that I meant to before. How very glad I was to hear of the prospect of Bud taking a class at Regina College. Very happy, and I hope it works out. He may see the value of such a system and eventually work out a deal such as I have. It's rough, but I think excellent. And what a variety of life. Really an all-round experience. I've so dreaded these history classes and have a premonition of failure, but at least my mind is directed into channels that heretofore I've avoided, and these are things you often need. I'm all for it, Bud. I spoke to Paul regarding accounting jobs in the United States, and he believes a plan to go to school in the U.S. would be good if you intend to work in the U.S. The money would lie here, but I don't know. It might be good to have one of us a loyal Canadian. Frank spoke of himself returning and becoming a professor at the University of Saskatchewan, and it sounded nice. But every day I feel myself more becoming U.S. bound for quite a while. John's ambition to combine his knowledge from working in a chemical plant and his law into becoming a corporation lawyer for a chemical company sounds quite possible. Very possibly in time you'll see a possibility of continuing your experiences and knowledge into something like that too. So the important thing is to gain the background and all the experience you can. I was quite proud of you being my brother this summer. Not that that's any credit to me, but I believe you can really be a very worthwhile person. And I love you. And Mother and Daddy, too, very much. I never give you the credit I should, because I'm usually the one lacking, and like to transfer the feeling, but you are pretty swell. I must be sick to sound so loving for a change. I'm happy because I'm so lucky. Life is absolutely wonderful. I've been pretty well satisfied with this room. John has been so nice, and when I hear a whistle, I know he's coming, after school or after studying, so it hasn't been so lonely as I thought. And he brought me some brownies yesterday to ease my hunger pangs. While we were at Dale's and Dan's, I called a teacher I know about a book she's lending me. She spoke of a nice girl who had an apartment nearby. Her roommate was getting married. I didn't expect to be interested, but what a nice apartment it is. On the 3rd floor of a beautiful big home. The apartment is newly decorated and all new furniture and drapes, beds, kitchen, everything new. It's $105 a month, including light. She knows another nice girl who wants to move too, and the landlady is just charging us $70 until she comes. Virginia, or Jenny French, is very nice, pretty, about my age, a nurse, as is the other girl. I'm quite glad about it. Thrilled, really, and so glad I didn't move with any other girls. I'll have to share a bedroom, but hope it'll be okay. John at first didn't want me to move as he wouldn't feel as free to come over, but now says he's glad I'm so happy about it. He's real nice. I'm moving tomorrow, but still write to me at the co-op. Thank you so much for the wonderful shape my material arrived in, but oh, the expense. It just made me sick. John said, "That's all right, Red. You won't always be so broke. Plus what you had to pay. I had to pay 75 cents, and on the very lovely slip $1.15 in duty. It's just not fair. But thanks so much. Yesterday afternoon, Dick, who is going to Los Alamos to work on the atom bomb, got a new car and asked me to go for a drive. We went out in the country, and how exquisite! The most radiant colors. Oh, but Ohio is beautiful. I could be happy living in the suburbs of Cleveland, and it's not so far from the center of town, 20 to 30 minutes by car. John was disappointed because he said he'd planned to take me first because he knew I'd enjoy it. We went to a riding stable, and he's going to take me horseback riding someday. I must write to Connie to come while the weather is still nice. John, Dale, Dan, and I went to the Ice Capades last night. I took them because of her birthday. John took me. You'd have loved it. Color, color, color. My whole day was just a pattern of color. John got a cake, and we had all the kids go to the other co-op, and we took Dale and Dan in and sang happy birthday and danced, and then went to Dale's apartment and then back to our house and danced more. Real nice. Bill taught me to rumba a little. I taught Sunday school this morning. Mrs. Heinrich said my demonstration of lip reading was good, but I was scared. The kids weren't, though. Love, Ruthie. 2457 Kenilworth Road, Cleveland Heights, Ohio, October 1949. Dearest Mother, Happy birthday, dear. I was so sorry the moment I posted my letter and card for fear you'd receive it too early, which is just about as bad as too late. But you can't always time things right, and I never seem to be able to at all. I'm just going to the library to study some American history. Exam on Tuesday and a sociology exam Thursday. I was just thinking how happy I'd be if I had children who, when they think of my birthday, never even know or think of how old I am, which is the way it is with you. I just love you and wish I could do something real nice for you. You'll be pleased to hear that they took back the iron without even opening the box and looking at it. The money certainly is coming in handy. I wonder if Daddy or Bud or both could brief me a bit on Canadian and British government. John is studying constitutions in his law course, as I am in history, and since discussing it, he's been questioning me on Canadian, and although I took it in school, I really know very little about it fundamentally. What does our Governor General do anyway? Do we have anything comparable to the U.S. Senate? Was our confederation to form a constitution of any kind, or don't we have anything but the laws passed by Parliament? I really feel very ignorant on our own government. Can you brief me? I must study. I love you and hope it's a very nice birthday. XXO, love, Ruthie. 2457 Kenilworth Road, Cleveland Heights, Ohio, October 10th, 1949. Dearest Mother, Daddy, and Bud, everything is perfect. The weather is simply gorgeous. The countryside is beautiful. The apartment is the nicest I've had. My roommate is very nice. I have my credits evaluated and have 33 more to go. I still have no money, but am hopeful that everything will work out, and John is very nice. By that, Bud, I mean that. John is very nice, that's all. He's been so helpful. He's moved me twice. He came over at 9 o'clock Saturday morning and drove us all to my other roommate's wedding, drove them to the photographer's, comes to see how I'm doing every day when he's through school or studying. If I had stayed here all summer, I could graduate next September, but otherwise I doubt if I'll make it. So everything's working out very well. There's a publisher interested in Little Black Sambo, but my hopes aren't up too high. I'm so disappointed in Connie. Tuesday, and I must write and finish this. Connie said she'd like to come to Cleveland, so I discussed it with John, and we planned a very nice weekend. I was ushering at the Playhouse Friday nights and can't bring someone else, so John came over when through with law school. We saw Edward, my son. Excellent, and I do want to see the movie now, too. We went dancing afterwards. Saturday was Laverne's wedding. Saturday night there was a party at the other house. John took me and I'd asked Dick to take Connie. So instead I got him to take my roommate Ginny, since her boyfriend is a medical student and on call. We'd also planned to go horseback riding if Connie came, but are going next Sunday. Saturday we're going to Oberlin for homecoming and the football game. I feel so good today. 11 hours sleep last night. I only had 2 the night before, though, writing an essay. You know, it was actually funny, but I did enough cooking in Florida to just want to get back to it, although I didn't realize it. The first night here I made brownies and since have made cookies, and last night cooked liver and onions, baked potatoes and squash, and made fruit salad dessert. The apartment's so nice, and I just feel so very lucky. It was just like a break from heaven. I don't miss the co-op at all, as long as John comes over. I'm really very satisfied with my life. Only wish I had more time. Have to give another demonstration at school tomorrow. We have to look for another roommate, but want someone nice. I know a few girls who'd like to come, but no one so far I'd like to have. I was planning to talk Connie into coming to Cleveland. She's thinking of going to England with her dad in March and taking a postgraduate course. I don't approve. I love you all so much, and but it's a wonderful world. Give my love to Marion, Joyce, and Irene. What's her address? I've enjoyed my hair so much. Hardly curl it often at all. Love you, Ruthie. 2457 Kenilworth Road, Cleveland Heights, Ohio. October 17th, 1949. Dearest Mother, Daddy, and Bud, I thought it was about time I should be hearing from you, so I was certainly glad when John brought over your letter. It was so nice to hear from you. He came over with it early Saturday morning, and I read it on the way to the store. John drove me to the big A&P supermarket, and I don't know what I'd have done if he hadn't helped me with it all. We're going to try to get a big load whenever he will help and save us carrying it. We're eating very well. About 11 o'clock we left for Oberlin. We went in Ann and Wayne's new car, a wine Ford. Lenny and Joan went with us. We had a very good time. Oberlin won the football game 41-7. Afterwards we had lunch, then visited the new dormitories, then a lovely dinner, ham with raisin sauce. Later we went to the dance. I enjoyed it so much, but Wayne Duff wanted to leave early, so we left about 11:30 and got back at 1. Yes, Bud, I'm still writing letters about me and what I'm doing, but that's what I expect in letters from you, about you and what you're doing. We went to see Romeo and Juliet, a play, Friday night. John had an exam, so came near the end of it. Yes, dear, I enjoyed the candy so much and treated Bill, Shintu, and John. I'm so pleased that Bud has a new trumpet. Hope he enjoys it as much as I think he will. I was equally disappointed that he's not taking any courses at Regina College. That would be the only good reason I could see in Daddy going to Edmonton. Maybe I could finally talk my brother into going to school. It seems funny to think of your Thanksgiving over already. I'm still very pleased with the apartment. We still need another roommate and interviewed one girl, but decided she has too many emotional problems. I must get to studying history. I have an exam Tuesday next week, includes the American Constitution. I'm quite disappointed in Connie. I don't know whether to write and tell her what I think or let it alone. That would probably be best, but it seems to me as if she's letting her family's ideas rule her too much. It was a shame when we'd planned such a nice weekend. She said she's so used to the dull life, she didn't think her constitution could stand anything else. I have a nice little Sunday school class and no Saturday morning classes, so life's much nicer. I have heard from Marion but once since I returned. I had John over for dinner yesterday. We had ham again with pineapple baked around it, baked potatoes and sweet potatoes, peas, fruit salad, and cake and coffee ice cream that I made. Really, life is so good right about now. I must get to studying, for we've decided John won't come over unless I get work done first. Bye. Right. Love you, Ruthie. P.S. Have you got the china or the front room suite yet? Did you like the dishes in Mackenzie's window? I still like the sectional furniture. They had these pieces arranged in the new dorms like this. You could have it with just end pieces. It was so funny. One of the fellows John went to Oberlin with was in the Royal Canadian Air Force and stationed in Edmonton. He didn't think much of it or any of the West. He said they marched around Regina. There's nothing there. Why, you know they even have wooden sidewalks. And everyone laughed, and someone said they'd never even heard of them. Oh well, I love you all. Thanks for the offer of a loan. I'm flat broke and John had to lend me $10, but I plan to go babysitting, and then I get paid again Friday week. I guess it'll work out, but it'll be a tight squeeze. Why don't you save up and buy a car? You can drive to Cleveland for my graduation, whenever that will be. Bye again. I love you, Ruthie. To be continued. Well, that concludes today's presentation. Good luck to you with your efforts in family history if this interests you, finding, preserving, and sharing old letters, diaries, and photographs, and interviewing elderly relatives while they're alive. You might consider checking out our website, Adventures in History, with Peter J. Ray at peterjray.com. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.